Question, 7 agencies operated or contracted with other entities to provide for a total of 66 hotlines, gave a combined total cost of $75.4 million, but not all hotline costs were available for all agencies. So should that line item be increased, or you just were unable to break out those individual hotlines costs?
The indication was, as again, I alluded to previously, was basically in most instances, it appeared basically that they had a cost for that service with the actual, and the function of that hotline. However, the actual cost of the actual hotline itself was not individually broken out from that overall cost in those instances, in most of those instances.
So those hotlines that you didn't have cost for are not included in the $75.4 million?
That is correct. That number does not include any potential costs that are directly associated with those hotlines. I will note in the summary, there's a footnote on page 1 that lists those 18 specific hotlines. That was the case. 6 of which were with the Department of Department of Health, and 12 with the Department of Human Services.
So we have no idea how much we're spending on 18 hotlines?
We don't know specifically on that hotline again, but it's in terms of it's basically, again, the indication in most of those instances was that that was a cost that was within that particular overall service and so forth. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there was a significant cost. As you'll note, one of our hotlines was only like $60-some thousand, as opposed to Office of I believe it was ODP, 3 hotlines. I think the most expensive one was $35 million, I believe, if I recall correctly. Actually, it's 30, OIM, Office of Income Maintenance, 3 hotlines. The one hotline, OIM, Customer Service Center, was of that $35 million number, was $33.8 million.
So I have a problem when we can't account for what we're spending on a service that we're providing. So I don't feel comfortable with the fact that we, as a committee, were tasked to do a report to identify the cost, and we have 18 hotlines that we can't identify the cost. That's what we were tasked to do in this report, and I find that problematic. And I would say that through our budgeting process, we should understand what we're spending on every single measure that we provide to our taxpayers. So if the Legislative Budget and Finance Committee can't get those costs, who can?
Well, one other factor we take into consideration in this, Senator, is you'll note that this report was originally scheduled to be released in June. However, as you can tell from Health and Human Services agencies, with regard to the ongoing COVID situation, that they were tasked with many other responsibilities, including telecommuting. So it was very difficult in some cases and time-consuming for them to get information to us and so forth. So I would suspect in some of these cases, again, because the information was not broken out, it would have been a timely process to break out that specific cost. But again, they have a cost for their overall services provided, is maybe not broken out for that specific thing in some instances.
Let me just suggest, I agree fully with Senator Phillips-Hill, and I would suggest that LBFC staff work with her on identifying information that we may have had and not included in the report appropriately, and also identify those areas where we don't have the appropriate data, and then we send another letter to those agencies and ask them again for the information. Thank you, Senator Phillips-Hill.